do you want to be certified in the use of enhanced interrogation techniques? And I had never heard that term before. I said, what's that mean? He goes, we're going to start getting rough with these guys. And I said, well, what does that mean? And he said, well, we're going to do, and he listed these 10 techniques, waterboarding and sleep deprivation and, smack in the face and all these different kinds of things. I said, that sounds like a torture program to me. And he goes, no, it's not torture. The president approved it and the Justice Department approved it, and we're going to start on it. I said, I don't know. I think I have a problem with that. Let me think about it for an hour. So I went back up to the 7th floor. There was a very senior CIA officer up there who I had worked for 10 years earlier. And I said, hey, I just got approached and asked if I wanted to be certified in these enhanced interrogation techniques. What do you think of that? And he said, first of all, let's call a spade a spade. This is a torture program. And you know how these guys are, he says. Somebody's going to go overboard and they're going to kill a prisoner. And when that happens, there's going to be a congressional investigation and then a Justice Department investigation, and somebody's going to go to prison. You want to go to prison? And I said, no, I don't want to go to prison. So I went back downstairs. I said, this is a torture program. I want nothing to do with it. So they asked 14 people, and I'm sorry to say that I was the only one who said no. 2 of us said no in the beginning, and then 1 changed his mind. But I was the only one in the end that said no. I'm glad I did. In retrospect, I was right. They were wrong. But things got much, much worse before they got any better.
How so?
Well, they started torturing Abu Zubaydah on the 2nd of August, 2002. And it was a slippery slope. They did many, many, many things, not just to Abu Zubaydah, but to most, if not all, of our high-value prisoners that were never authorized by the Justice Department or by the president. You can't force hummus up someone's rectum, for example, right? You can't play Russian roulette with them. You can't, they learned Abu Zubaydah had an irrational fear of insects. And so they put him in a coffin and they dumped a box of cockroaches in there with him and then closed the coffin. And they left him in there for 10 days just with a diaper. You can't do that. Nobody told you had permission to do something like that. And waterboarding was supposed to be the ultimate technique. But there were a couple that were clearly worse than waterboarding. Sleep deprivation, right?